Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today we will have a story from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. You know, your experience of life. Who decides your experience of life? Your mind? Huh? In fact, your experience of life is an interpretation of your mind many times. So this is what this story is going to illustrate to you. It seems when these three categories, the gods and the demons and the human beings, were created, everyone was very worried as to who would educate them. Education is so very important, no? Because your mind starts functioning in a particular way, in a particular direction due to your education. So they were wondering, and then everybody decided that, we think Prajapati, Brahma, should teach them. So then the first thing which he made them do is, he made them go through a course of discipline, tapasya, all of them. And then they lived with the Guru for some time. They followed a rigorous course of discipline. They practiced celibacy. And then with all this, the normal course which a Vedic student had to undergo, they went through that. And then after that, they asked Brahma to give some instruction to them. And the only instruction he gave was, he just uttered the word the, just the. Now each one, according to their nature, they interpreted this word. He said, well, can the Devas tell me what this means? And they told him that, maybe it means damyatam. Damyatam is daman karna, dam. What does it mean? We have studied this. It is actually self-control, controlling something. So the might mean damyatam, they said. And he said, you are perfectly right. And then he asked the category humans, human beings, that what do you understand by dam, the? And then they said, it means danam, dattam, giving. Now see, each one is giving a different answer, and Prajapati Brahma is telling right. He said right to this also. They are teaching us some very profound lessons. You see, first of all, self-control. When the Devas are saying that this teaching means self-control, this is primary to a good life. ये आप सोच के देखो अपने आप. If what happens due to control is your energy is moved or become capable of moving to the next higher level. That is why control. तपस्या का क्या मतलब है पता है? तप धातु से आता है तपस्या. Tap means to heat up, to heat the system. Why are you heating up the system? What happens when you heat up? You are science students. You can go to the next higher level. That is what happens to your psyche also. That is what happens to all your faculties. When they are controlled at a certain level, they get the capacity to move to the next higher level. That is the very purpose of self-control. And dhanam, which the human beings are saying, that the meaning of the is dhanam. What is this dhanam about? Why should you be a giver in life? Well, if I get more enjoyment just by getting things, why should I not be just a go-getter? Why should I be a giver? Because you see, that is the only way you can function, you can maintain the cycle of life. You are getting from life, you should be able to give, you should be able to replenish. Otherwise, you bear a negative karmic account. है ना? हमारे कर्मों से डिटरमिन होता है हमारा फेट क्या होगा, what our destiny will be like. So if you are not a giver, you have a negative karmic. You may have a very good bank balance, but you will have a negative karmic account, which means the experiences coming into your life will not be very good. The more you give, the more you balance this. You understand? That is why dhan is important. So Prajapati Brahma said yes, very good, even to the human category. And then the third, the demons, they were asked, well, what is your interpretation of this word the? And they said, maybe it is dayadhvam, daya, compassion, that is also very necessary in life. So Prajapati Brahma said, yes, very good, you are right. That is the meaning of this word the. See, a compassionate outlook, so long we have been studying positive emotions, isn't it? जिस हृदय में दया ना हो, उस हृदय में पॉजिटिविटी नहीं आती है. you yourself dig your own grave, you go into a depression phase if these soft emotions are not there in your mind. So, even this is a very important aspect of understanding. See, this teaching, it is encompassing some very important lessons for us. Because all these students went through a course of discipline, they were able to give this kind of an interpretation to that word. Everyone interprets according to his understanding and nature. So, who is the supreme interpreter of everything? Your mind. As is your mind, so will be your understanding of life. As is your mind, so will be your experience of life. And in a very deep sense this holds. This story actually ends here, because all that they want to tell us through this story is your mind is so very important, and each one is going to interpret every experience according to his nature. But observe this closely and see, it is not just about well, if I have a good positive attitude of mind, I will have a good experience of life. If I don't have negativities, then I will not be hurt by this and that, I will not have pain in life. It is not just about this. This is a surface aspect. But if you dive deep within the mind, you know, you come across the very matrix, the very structure of mind, what we are calling mind. And this structure, you know the basic parameters that make this structure. It is very interesting. This is hardcore Vedanta. Time, space and causation are inbuilt in your mind. That is the actual matrix of your mind. You can say it is the texture of Maya, which means to say the consciousness itself manifests as this diversity, this multiplicity. You see, immediately when you think of I, you do not think of consciousness, you think of body-mind complex. So, this comes because your interpretation is through your mind, which already has an inbuilt mechanism of time, space and causation. You think you are an individual being limited in time, this particular time, and limited in space. I am such and such, in this particular time I am existing and here I am existing. This is your conception of yourself. Now what are you doing? You are interpreting your true being through the prism of your mind, which already has an inbuilt mechanism of time, space and causation built into it, so that your interpretation is through that. This is a hard point to digest, but think about it. You are already in a way deeply conditioned into these parameters and you are functioning through them. This is the very texture of jisko hum Maya kehte hain. You are already in that. So, when you ask the question, how did Brahman become this world, or how is the supreme reality, kabhi kabhi hum पूछते हैं ना कि why this world, why this creation? You are already asking it through the interpretation is through the prism already. Please see this. Do you believe this, that time begins when mind begins? See, when I told you time, space and causation are inbuilt in the mind, what does that actually mean practically? Time begins when your mind begins. Now, can this be true? You are used to the concept of linear time, that you are in time, time is not in you. But now Vedanta is telling you time is in you and time begins when your mind begins. What is the proof of this? Tell me, do you have any proof of this? नहीं, ये ऐसे ही एक स्टेटमेंट बना रहे हैं.
For a child, the concept of time is not like it is for us.
Very good. And your everyday experience of sushupti, deep sleep, you see, mind shuts down, no sense of time, which means what? Time is in the mind. Observe this closely. When mind shuts down, you have no concept of time. You do not know if you slept for 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, only you have to see your alarm clock and that will tell you how long you slept. The sense of time is vanquished, which means what? It was inbuilt in your mind. So, time begins when mind begins. See how they are studying. Space begins when identification with the body begins. If there is no identification with the body, you are in that state also much of the time. You have not seen it closely, that is all. When identification with body begins, the sense of space begins in you. Again see your state of sushupti. You are not identified with anything at that time. There is a spacelessness about the experience. You have no sense of space. Causation begins, see I am giving you very generalized deep level ideas. Think and see what it means. Causation begins when objective limitation has begun. When you are limited as one particular object, causation begins for you. See, let me put some amount of explanation into this. None of these is absolute. Time, space and causation, none of these is absolute. See, what is time basically? In science also you will say time is the interval between two events. Are two events absolute? No, they are relative. So, how can the interval between them be absolute? Time is also relative, space is relative, causation is relative. Because it is relative, it is not absolute, it is an inbuilt mechanism of your mind. You are interpreting reality through this mechanism. You understand? That is why you see multiplicity. The one consciousness which Vedanta is calling Brahman, you see as this world. If I remove these limits, you will see things as they are, isn't it? अब देखिए इस इन लिमिट्स को एक एक नाम देते हैं. इन वेदांत ना they are terminology, very specific terminology is there. When you are limited by time, they will say you have what is called kala pariched. It's a limit in time. Now, if I remove this limit in time, what happens? You become timeless, which means what? You become eternal. You are not limited by time, which means you are eternal, isn't it? If you are limited by space, when you are identified with body, you are limited by space. Then I will say you are desha pariched. You are within the limits of space. If you remove this, that is if you transcend mind in samadhi, if you remove this, what will happen? You become spaceless, which means what? You become omnipresent. You are not limited by space, isn't it obvious? You are getting the logic of it? You are similarly you are limited by causation, the causal limit is there. If it is removed, if it is transcended in samadhi, what will happen? You are not limited as an object, you are everything. Consciousness is everything. It is appearing as different names and forms. The one thing, that very water is appearing as the wave and the bubble and this and that, isn't it? They are all formations in that very one substance. So, also if you remove your limits, you come to the original stuff. And that is why they say kala paricheda shunyam if you become, desha paricheda shunyam if you become, vastu paricheda shunyam if you become, you go to your original state, original stuff that you are, which is Brahman, the ultimate reality of consciousness. This is what you are. If I see that very same Brahman through the instrumentation of a mind which has the inbuilt mechanism of time, space and causation, I see myself as this such and such and such, you as such and such and such, this world of diversity, multiplicity, mind boggling variety. Everything is name and form, actually consciousness with an outer crust of name and form, and you are seeing only the name and form because you yourself have become limited by it. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? So, understand what an important light this is throwing. Just like how when gravity was discovered. Yes, he has a question.
Please explain causation once more.
Causation, causal limit means if you are limited as an object, as one particular object only, obviously you can't be any other object. You see, this is only a pen, this is not anything else, this is only a table, this is not anything else. Now, this is a limitation according to Vedanta. If you break through this limitation, you will not be bound by not to be bound by causation means you are not that particular object only, you are everything in a sense. अब ये conceive करना difficult है. The idea is this, that in samadhi you can break down time, space and causation. You see the stuff as it is, you will see every object as it is. जब वेदांत में बोलते हैं ना सर्वम खलु इदम ब्रह्मा, it's not a poetic statement merely that they are making, that is the perception they are getting through their state of existence at that time. The consciousness has gone to such a high level, they see everything as one, they see everything as Brahman. So, when you break through the three limits, you will see things as they are. This is the philosophical explanation. जैसे आप देखिए, it is a more and more generalized views of reality they are giving you, actually speaking. When gravity was discovered in 1665, Newton actually united the heavens and the earth through the discovery of gravity. He knew how gravity works, he could not explain gravity. Nobody can actually explain a force what it is, isn't it? Everyone knows that it is something that brings objects which have masses together, but why, what it is actually we do not know. But when the general theory of relativity was discovered by Einstein, how did you understand that gravity? You see, it is a more generalized, more profound, in-depth concept of gravity. What is actually gravity? It is a warp, it is a curve in space-time. The object creates the warp, the curve, and so it appears like a force to you, like a ball traveling along a trampoline. How it actually, you see, the joining between those 2 points is what you are calling force. It is a warp created by the mass of that object. So, now you see, this is a deeper explanation of the concept of force, isn't it? This is what Vedanta is giving you by making you understand where are time, space and causation located in your mind. If you think you are in time, if you think you are in space, if you think you are in causation, then you get the opposite idea. You understand? Think and see clearly, is time in me or am I in time? Is time something linearly moving and I am in that, or is time an idea in my mind? Think and see this clearly. Your own existential experience will tell you time is in you. Time is inbuilt in your mind. The recording of time, the interval between two events, the record happens in your mind. So, if you understand this, you will get a totally different perception of what time, space and causation means. This is the basic fabric which both science and Vedanta are using. Only one is telling you, in your own experience, through your own experience you study it. The other one is telling you third person perspective, study it through instruments, measurements. Think and see. एक वेदांतिक आइडिया यहाँ पर दिया गया है which is very profound. Now you must reflect on it and then you will catch it. Yes.
But when we look at, suppose, human biological systems, suppose they are located on one side of Atlantic and other side of Atlantic, and so the sun would come at some particular time and it would set at some particular time. So the kind of hormonal schemes that we see, they are distinctly separated in both the areas. So if time would have been within me stuff, it would have been similarly present transatlantic both the sides, but that's not the case. So I think time is somewhere right out there, and we are.
Yes, the general perception is like that because we have become used to understanding time in terms of events. And an interval between any two events taking place anywhere is what I am calling time. But what we are telling you is the perception, the recording of time, the idea of time, everything is conceived in your mind. Time stops for you from time to time. Time stops for you in your everyday experience in Sushupti.
What does that mean?
That means, you see, the idea of time is in your mind. Reflect on this. I am not saying believe it. Reflect on this and you will grasp what they are trying to say. In your own experience, time halts. In your own experience, you start the record again. In your own experience, you need an external factor to show you the existence of time.